Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Now, I have a question for you, and I'm gonna ask you to raise your hands. Even though I can't see you, I want you to participate anyway. Raise your hand if sometimes you are afraid to drive in Houston. I am one of those people. I have to tell you, when I first moved here in 2005, I remember driving down 59, going south, and I was so afraid. It seemed like everyone was just zooming past me, and I'm like, hey, I'm going like 70, 75 miles per hour. Fast forward, here we are in 2021, and things seem to be moving really, really crazy. I'm saying all that to say that today's guest is attorney Todd I. He's a personal injury attorney, and we're going to talk about accident safety. I'm so sorry. Accident safety. See, you don't want to mess up like me. We're going to be right back after this break with Mr. White. See you in just a second.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa.
Hey, any I let him still attached. Ooh, everybody right, but
I got it.
Ooh,
She got me.
classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
I'm a
Space
savage.
Jam,
Yeah.
July 16th.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Today I am in the studio with Mr. Todd White. Todd is the CEO of the White Law Firm. And Todd, I thank you for joining me. I think we're going to have some curious and interesting conversations today.
Thank you for having me, and I hope so.
You hope so?
Yes.
What you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about what I do, personal injury. I want to talk about helping people that have been involved in accidents, been injured, and need legal representation.
Okay, so let's talk about your career first. You were with HPD, you were a sergeant with HPD. For how many years?
23 years.
23 years.
Yes.
How was that?
Great career. I enjoyed it. I started as a young man, spent 23 years there, went to college, undergrad, and grad school while I was a member of the police department.
Oh, wow.
And opened my law firm in 2005, and here we are, 2021, 16 years in the law practice.
Nice. So wait a minute. So when did you join the police force?
I joined the police department, I was 19 years old.
Okay.
When I came out of the police academy, I was 20 years old, and I was too young to buy bullets.
But you were able to shoot them?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I had to present my police ID in order to buy bullets to do my job as a police officer.
Okay. So you were already working for HPD at 19, 20.
Right.
Actually in the field at this point.
Right.
And then when did you go to school? When did you go to college?
Worked on my undergrad from about 25 to maybe 30.
Okay.
Kind of part-time.
I like that you have this unconventional thing going. That's pretty dope, because people need to see that. It does not have to, there's not a one path to success, right?
Well,
you can do multiple things.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, let me go back a little bit. When I finished high school, I went to Prairie View for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, because, and the reason behind that is that, you know, most college students are broke. Okay, I came out of high school, I don't have a job, I don't want to go to college and be broke. My philosophy was, look, I'm going to get a job, and once I get a job, then I can go back to college.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
So you literally left after 2 weeks?
Yes, I sure did.
So y'all didn't have semesters back then?
They had semesters, yeah.
But you were just like 2 weeks in?
I just
Wow, you were
yeah.
definitely, I like that though, but look at you now, still a
Right.
success story.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so how did you transition into becoming an attorney?
In the police department, I knew that I came in young, and in 20 years you could retire.
Okay.
So I knew I'd be
Oh,
leaving.
dang, I did the wrong thing.
Right.
I could
I knew I could
retire.
retire at 20 years, so I knew I had to do something else. And back then, a lot of people were leaving police department. They were going to other law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
Well, I was already had gone to college and had a degree in administration of law. So my thinking was, well, I'm in the law field, so I may as well go to law school. A few people were going to law school also, and I thought that was a great idea.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
And where'd you go?
University of Houston.
Okay, so you're a kook.
Yes.
Now, how did you choose personal injury? Before you even tell me, let me tell you the story. So my actual degree is in communications.
Okay.
But my career has always been in marketing. But in one of my media law classes in so long ago, early 2000s, I first learned about tort law.
Right.
What's the difference between personal injury and tort law? Is it similar?
Well, it's some similarity. Torts are primarily actions that people take
Okay.
against other
So those
individuals.
action suits that we see, those commercials.
Right.
Okay.
Intentional actions.
Okay.
Personal injury is more so accidents or negligence or things along
Okay.
those lines. Torts are more of an intentional spin on them.
Okay.
Right.
So you decide to go that route.
Right.
Personal injury.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about this. So you do 18-wheeler, car accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle, commercial vehicle, wrongful death, Uber Lyft. Let's talk about wrongful death for a second. Give me a wrongful death type of legal action suit.
Well, I had one recently. What happened was a mother was involved in it, was struck by an 18-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
She was killed in the accident, and the wrongful death claim is held by the children. So children of individuals who are killed in accidents have wrongful death claims. Anytime a close loved one is killed by someone that is close to you, then you have a wrongful death claim.
Really?
Children, parents, primarily,
Wow.
or husbands and wives.
Okay.
Right.
So this is something you see a lot of?
Yes. Normally, when there are fatalities, there are wrongful death
Gotcha.
claims that come out of that.
Okay, so you remember that it was in Fort Worth. Remember a few months ago? Or maybe was it early this year, late last year? Remember that pile up when we had the winter storm?
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
I remember that. Yeah, that was...
all the trucks, so that was definitely, do you remember that?
Yes,
that would have definitely
horrendous.
been, you get a phone call from that? I'm just curious.
No, I didn't get it.
You didn't get called. I don't know. You're in Houston. I just had to ask. But no, something I thought was really interesting when I learned about you were the Uber and Lyft accidents. So let's walk through this really slowly for a second. I take Uber. Okay,
Right.
I live in the city, so it's convenient for me, especially if I'm going to have to valet or if I know that I'm going to have a cocktail or two. I have no problem taking an Uber or Lyft.
Right.
Thankfully, nothing has ever happened to me. But if that were to ever happen, if someone's in an Uber or Lyft and they have an accident, the driver, what do you do as a rider?
Well, as a rider, you're covered by the liability portion of the insurance for the Uber
Okay.
vehicle, which is the same as it would be if you were riding with a friend and your friend was negligent and caused you to get injured as a passenger.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a claim against his liability coverage. So there's really no distinction there, but you would be covered by the insurance.
But I think there is a distinction because like what you just said, so if you're my friend, I know you, I have your phone number, I have access to you. As someone who rides with Uber, often you don't really have access to your drivers like that.
Well,
So how do you even, how would you work through that, I guess? That's what I really want to walk people through.
Well, when you catch Uber, I've called Uber. They
You're
send you.
so old. You've caught Uber? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've called
I
Uber.
have to tease you.
Yeah, I've called Uber before. They send you the information. They send you the license plate of the individual
They
that's
do?
driving
Okay.
the car. Send you a picture of the car. They even send you a picture of the individual. So you have his information right there.
Okay.
If you get into an accident, make sure a police report is done.
Gotcha.
And then you've got all the information that you're going to need to pursue a liability claim.
But let's talk about that. So you said make sure a police report is done. I've seen accidents where police don't even come out anymore. So what do you do when somebody wants to leave the scene? You know what I mean?
Well, somebody wants to leave the scene. There's a charge called failure to stop and give information.
Okay, say that again.
Failure to stop and give information,
Okay.
which is a criminal offense, a municipal offense. And there's failure to stop and render aid, which is an offense that you can be incarcerated for if the person is seriously injured. So those are two things. The police departments will investigate those crimes. And we've got cameras all around the cities nowadays. So the possibility of somebody getting the plate is pretty good because everybody is a camera holder and
Right.
people taking pictures of everything.
That's true.
So
That's to your benefit.
That's to your benefit. So if that does happen, the odds are that you will find that information that way. Yeah.
Okay. Have you had any cases like this?
No, I hadn't had any cases like that. Hadn't had any Uber
That
cases.
makes me feel good as a rider.
Right.
Because that's
Right.
the last thing I want to do.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about bikes.
Right.
That's something I'm seeing a lot in Houston. We all of a sudden have these bicycle lanes.
Right.
Personally, I'm not a fan of it,
Right.
only because I feel like Houstonians can't drive with cars,
Right.
with the regular vehicles. Now I'm supposed to ride along a bike.
Right.
So if something happens, you're on your bicycle.
Right.
God forbid, but you're on your bicycle, someone hits you, what do you do?
God, I mean, somebody hits you on your bicycle, first of all, you're going to be hurt.
Right.
There's no such thing as a minor accident between a car and a bicycle. If you're able to, I would get the information of the driver. If they stay at the scene, you get the information if you're able to do that. If not, you're going to be transported by ambulance, and hopefully somebody has seen what happened and will get the information from that other driver. At least call the police and let them do an investigation.
Okay, hold on one second. We're going to continue this. We have to go to break really quickly, okay? Because I want people to know this.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to be right back talking more about all these cyclists here in Houston driving on the roads. Be right back after this break.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa.
Hey, any I let haters feel attached. Ooh, everybody right, but you
I got it.
Ooh,
She got me.
classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
I'm a
Space
savage.
Jam,
Yeah.
July 16th.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Mr. White is telling us about bicycles riding around in Houston and how not to get hit. It's what I hope
Right.
you're sharing. But no, seriously, someone gets hit. What were you saying?
Well, I was saying that if you get hit on a bicycle, hopefully that you're not injured to the point where you can't gather information and make your own police report. But if you can't, hopefully that some good Samaritan will, get the information for you, or at least take a picture of the plate of the person if they leave the scene. But I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of the individual that hit you to do the right thing.
You really are.
If you get hit on a bicycle, because if you're hurt, there's nothing you can do to help yourself. You're going to need some help from the citizens around you.
Like, that's something you don't even think about. My friend and I were leaving Midtown one night. And I'm sorry, not even nighttime, it was daytime. And literally we were just driving and the poor lady, her body was on the side, blanket over, a bicycle was right there. I'm like, really?
Right.
But I do feel like that was a mistake on Houston's end. Literally, why did you do this when people don't know how to drive
Right.
around these people? But anyway, let's talk. That's just my personal opinion. I don't want
Right.
to project that onto anyone.
Right.
So let's talk about the rise in carjacking. So I'm going to tell you this, Todd. I definitely remember reading or hearing a story that said after COVID, we're probably going to see a rise in crime, right? I don't know the correlation, but I know that carjackings have been on the rise. And I know you said you had a personal story. What was it? I'm interested.
Well, my story was back in '93 when carjackings were prevalent at that time. They kind of waned, and now they're becoming prevalent again. I think the reason they're becoming prevalent is probably twofold, probably post-COVID and these early releases and all these bonds. People are being released. These criminals are being released. And with bonds, low bonds now, with this whole, left-wing movement to get rid of the police and get rid of the bonds. But anyway, in my story, I was at Fountain View and Richmond. Coming out of Chili's. There was a Chili's there at that time. There's a Burger King in that spot now. But anyway, I'm coming out of Chili's. I'm on a date. And, just like everybody else, I'm not paying attention to expecting anything to happen. So I get into my car. That was when I had the club. I had a Corvette. Had the club on the wheel. Remember the club? Yeah, I had the club on. So I get in. I turn the alarm off. I take the club off. And I turn the car on. And once I turn the car on, I see a guy outside my passenger window. And I still didn't snap. I'm thinking, well, maybe most directions is up. I don't know what's going on. So, but when I turn my car on, my car locks. The door's locked, so he can't get in. So I see him pull on the door handle, and at the same time, I see a pistol drop down in his right hand.
Oh, wow.
Think, okay, that's what this is. Now, in my mind, I've already, prepared myself for what I would do if something like this happens.
Okay.
So I place my foot on the brake, put my car in reverse, hold the car in gear, reach into my center console, pull out my pistol, shoot him. At the same time, I'm backing out. His friend who was coming back to my driver's side takes off running. So long story short, he's deceased. My car doesn't get jacked, and that's how I survived it.
Wow.
But, their intention was, and I found out later, they had actually taken a cab from Fifth Ward over to this side of town for the purpose of carjacking.
Wow, so this was their intention the entire time. Okay.
And what they were relying on, I think, from the way they acted, what they were relying on is that when people see a gun, they go, he's got a gun. And, they
had no idea that they were messing with someone part of HPD at the time.
Right. So my advice to people, I guess, to avoid this type of thing or to be prepared to deal with it is, number one, be vigilant.
Okay.
Number two, have a plan. Mentally have a plan in your head what you do if the situation arose.
Okay.
Have that in your mind already, and have whatever you need with you to execute that plan.
Okay, so can I tell you my plan, Todd? I would just surrender. What else can I do?
Well, I've just demonstrated what else you can do.
But think about it. Sometimes when you're in the moment, which I'm very glad you did survive, but when you're in the moment, sometimes you just freak out. The fear. Take the car. I can buy another one.
Well, yeah, that's what they've been banking on. That's what's been happening. But
so you don't recommend people do that?
I don't have that fear, so I mean.
I like that. But you also have something that a lot of us don't have. HPD.
No.
What is it?
And that's another misnomer that people have. They think that because I was a police officer, I had some kind of special skill to deal with this. No, I didn't.
No? Okay.
I just had common sense, good judgment, and mental preparation. I was mentally prepared to deal with it. I knew I was driving a Corvette. They were jacking Corvettes, and there was a possibility that somebody might want to jack mine. So I prepared myself in my mind. I knew what I wanted to do if this happened and what I would do. And when it happened, I just went to it.
Okay.
So if you have yourself already prepared for that and know what you're going to do in that situation, I think you can go into kind of autopilot and do that thing that you prepared yourself to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to just giving it up, because there's no guarantee that when you go you don't still catch a bullet.
That's very true. That's very true.
And they're doing that a lot.
So let's talk about that for a second. So I mentioned about COVID and how, crime has really gone up in Houston.
Right.
Before we were complaining about Chicago.
Right.
Houston, crime is really up.
Right.
And road rage is something that we are seeing like crazy here. And I know you do personal injury.
Right.
So let's talk about that for a second. What do you do, tie in your HPD career and your law career? You have somebody, maybe you cut them off. You apologize, you've given the signal, you've raised your hand. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Let's move forward. But this person's not ready to move forward.
Right.
What are the steps if you see this person taunting you and I'll give you a perfect example. One of my good friends cut a guy off. She's like, I really didn't even mean to cut him off. I truly just didn't see him. She said the guy parked next to her, got out of the car on the feeder. She was scared for her life. Like, what do you do when it happens?
Well, if she was parked, I would suggest that you don't stop. I mean,
she wasn't parked. She was on a feeder waiting on the exit. It was like traffic time, so it was no time.
So he got out of the car in the traffic.
And surrounded her car.
Man, I mean, at that point, you get on the phone and try to call HPD, but you got to, be prepared to defend yourself. I mean, you don't know what these people will or won't do out here in the streets. There's nothing you can do if you're stuck in traffic. You can't move. if you can't jump out and run, you make yourself even more vulnerable.
Right.
Now you're outside of your car.
Right.
So all I can suggest is that she get on the phone, call the police, and be prepared to defend herself if she needs to.
Why do you think the crime rate's going up?
I mean, like I said, I think a lot has to do with a lot of proven violent criminals are being released back onto the streets. They're not going to get jobs. Nobody's hiring them. They want to eat. They want all the necessities that everybody else wants. What are they going to do? They're going to go back to what they do best, which is crime. And I think that's what's happening.
But why do you think they specifically carjack?
Well, carjacking is a crime of opportunity, and I guess it doesn't take a whole lot of. I don't know why they're doing it. To me, it makes no sense. It's not like you can keep the car,
right?
But I guess they take the car, they chop it, and they get some quick money.
It's just easy,
right?
Convenience.
Easy money, yeah.
Wow.
And most people go and hand it right over. So
I would be that
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty easy to do. You walk up to somebody, hey, give me your car. You got a car. Now you got a car. Now you got $3,000-$4,000, whatever you're gonna get for it at the chop shop, in your pocket. So you do that twice a day. That's pretty good living.
Wow, I don't want that type of living. Neither do you.
Until you get shot.
Now let's go back, before we wrap up, let's go back to accidents. And with you doing personal injury, what are the most common mistakes you see people doing? Like, what should we do differently?
Well, I mean, what I see people doing is primarily inattentive driving.
Who?
Inattentive driving.
So we're texting, talking,
on the phone,
makeup.
Right, not paying attention to the road. Right, not paying attention to the road.
All the things I'm guilty of.
Not paying attention to the road. I think a lot of excessive speeding going on too. I mean, people are just driving like they're in a rush to get somewhere, and it's dangerous to themselves. So if we can slow down, pay attention, that'll eliminate a lot of the accidents that are happening. Another thing I like to touch on too is how people can avoid these DWIs that occasionally get on the freeway going the wrong way. Statistically, and I've lived through this too. I was coming down 610 about 2 o'clock in the morning, 610 southbound, headed toward Post Oak. On the inside lane, a friend of mine is in a truck next to me, and I decided to just get over. As soon as a few seconds after I get over, the car speeds by me on that inside lane. And when these people get on the freeway drunk like that, they gravitate to that lane because they think that they're in the slow lane, which they would be in if they weren't going the right way on the freeway. They would be in the far outside right lane.
Wow.
So just, something for people to keep in mind when you're on the road. If you're on the road after midnight, driving down the street, you might want to avoid that inside lane.
Wow.
Because that's where they tend to go.
Wow, that's crazy. I wonder what that's about. I wonder what triggered that thought to go to that lane.
Yeah, they think they're going into the slow lane. But they're in the inside lane. But they think they're going on the right-hand side of the street. If you're on the right-hand side of the street, you'll be in the slow lane. But if you're going the wrong way on the freeway, you're on the inside lane.
Well, let me tell you something. Todd, thank you for coming in here and sharing these stories and scaring the crap out of me. No, I'm joking. No, I really do appreciate you coming in here talking to us.
Right.
Guys, I'm going to be right back right after this break.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. What did you think about Attorney White's conversation, especially regarding carjacking? You know, I'm always talking to dreamers, right? I believe in dreaming out loud. And one thing that Attorney White said was, you know, everybody seems to be in a rush these days. I am someone who's guilty, but let's talk about rushing just in life, period. Why are we in a rush? Like, literally sit there for a second and ask yourself that. As I'm asking myself, why am I in a rush? My first thought is, because I want it and I want it now, right? Who wants to wait? But there's so much beauty in the journey. That's the real thing. I can be very honest and say, I've achieved a few things over the last few months or whatnot, and it's great. But when I look back, when I tell the stories, I'm not always telling the story of the achievement. I'm telling the story of how I've actually gotten there. So now I can see the beauty in the journey. So all of us, including myself, let's take a moment. Let's breathe. Like, literally smell the roses, smell the flowers where you are right now. What is the beauty in your journey? Because when you get the achievement, then what? A new journey begins. So all of us, including me, I promise you, I'm including myself in every single thing that I share with you guys, because I am not perfect. I will never proclaim to be. I hope I'm always growing and evolving as long as I'm on this time side of life. Let's take our time. Let's find the beauty in where we are today. So if I had to say what the beauty for me today is, I'm me. I get to enjoy my life. I get to do the things that I want to do the way that I want to do them. And it's so beautiful, right? I get to wake up and I get to meditate, and there's nothing stopping me from doing that. That's the beauty I'll share with you. Now, share your beauty story with me. I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about what's happening right now, what you want to attain, but tell me about what's really happening that you're enjoying. Tell me this on social media, on Instagram and Facebook at American Star TV. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.